Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. It's been a little bit. We took a little Christmassy holiday break, but we're back.
Hope you guys enjoyed your holidays and that was all fun and all that, and you're staying warm.
Hopefully everyone survived the cold freeze blast of sadness, but it's okay. Life moves on. We are super excited because today we are meeting Lindsay at Sweet Stuff Cakes. And I'm so excited. I love cake and people who are talented with food because it's yummy and it's fun and it always smells really good.
It does.
True.
And it just sets you up for success.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go. All right, hey everyone, and welcome back. We are here today with Lindsay Thompson of Sweet Stuff Cakes. How are you doing tonight?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Awesome, I'm good, thank you. We will just start with you telling us a bit about yourself.
So my name is Lindsay. I'm 33 years old. This is my bakery. So I am the sole owner and operator of Sweet Stuff Cakes.
And so how long have you been baking for?
I am coming up on 20 years about. I started when I was really young. I would say I'm more into the decorating side than the baking side. I have been decorating cakes for close to 20 years, and I started with like the flat sheet cakes with my mom and like the star piping, and I've kind of grown to custom cakes and custom cookies. Yeah.
And do you remember the first thing you baked or decorated?
I do. The first cake I decorated was with my mom. It was for my grade 6 teacher, Mrs. Down. So on the off chance that she watches this, Mrs. Down, that was me that made your baby shower cake. Yeah, it was one of those sheet cakes, and my mom baked it and iced it, and then I helped her do all of the little decorations on top. Yeah.
That's so special. That's so cute.
Yeah.
And so when did you know that you wanted to like be a baker and decorator and pursue this full time?
I feel like it was around that era when Cake Boss was becoming really popular and everyone realized they could kind of make a living out of doing this. And I had always liked cake decorating, and I do like being creative, but I found it difficult to do like canvas art or like other different kinds of art, but cake art kind of spoke to me, and so I kind of just felt like something I wanted to pursue.
That's amazing. I like looking at your work online and like here in your bakery. It's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Rochelle and I tried to be bakers in like the 5th grade.
It's a lot harder than it looks. Yeah.
So much harder.
I hear so many times like, oh, I didn't order something, but I really should have ordered something because I was up until 2 a.m. making my kid's 5th birthday cake. And I'm like, yeah, it's a bit more work than people think that it is, for sure. Yeah.
So much more work. And the steady hand that you have to have, the patience.
Yeah.
Even like the temperature of the room that you're baking in is just...
like honestly, there's so many factors. And if you move somewhere else, there's different factors you have to account for. Like the ovens are different. So it can be really finicky, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So amazing work that
Thank
you do.
you.
And so where did the name Sweet Stuff Cakes come from?
So I did the NATE Baking and Pastry Art program, and while I did that program, we would volunteer and run baking tables to sell our product. And whenever customers would walk by, they would go, oh, look at all the sweet stuff. And you know, you'd always get like the dads that would like rub their tummy and they'd be like, so much sweet stuff. And I was like, that's so cute. Everyone loves sweet stuff. And then I really wanted to focus on the custom cakes, and so I went with Sweet Stuff Cakes. Kind of seemed like it gathered it all together really well. So
yeah, it's so fitting. It's cute and it has a good ring to it.
Yeah, thank you.
And so speaking of your company in itself, you kind of spoke to it already, but the types of treats that you carry are...
Yeah, so right now my biggest focus is on the custom cakes and sugar cookies. So sugar cookies have exploded over the last few years, and I started doing those in 2020. The cakes I've been doing for a lot longer, and then I do sprinkle cupcakes in there every once in a while. So my favorites are when people will get a cake and cookies and cupcakes, and it's like the trifecta of birthday desserts. It's just my favorite to do like a whole table spread. So those are my big 3 main ones that I focus on. Yeah.
And so flavors of cakes and cupcakes, what are those?
Yeah. When I used to do farmers markets, I had a fuzzy peach cupcake, and that was like the big favorite one. And I would put like a little fuzzy peach candy on top. Oh my gosh, like kids and adults actually just loved it. I don't do that anymore because I don't really do markets anymore. So honestly, most of the cakes I bake are chocolate and vanilla. There's an Oreo one sprinkled in there somewhere. Coconut is really good. I do use fresh fruit in all of the fruit cakes that I bake. But chocolate and vanilla are the most popular usually. Big crowd pleasers, so yeah.
For sure, yeah. I guess I should have guessed that because it's custom orders, right? So it's whatever people kind of come up with, you're willing to adapt to and make?
Yeah, to a certain extent, yeah. I don't really take like super fancy flavors. Like it's more you pick the cake and you pick the filling. I know lots of people do like truffle cakes and like really fancy flavors, and I'm more about like a solid cake, and then like you can add in a filling if you want to, but I feel like the cake has to be really good instead of just adding in a bunch of different flavors so that it's kind of deceiving. It's a good solid cake, so you don't really need a bunch of fancy flavors.
That's so interesting. We were at Destination Donuts, and that was what the owner was talking to us about with donuts. He was saying, like, the best is the plain and simple ones because it shows that you can make the thing really well.
Yeah, it's true. And then it's not deceiving because I find, like, a lot of the time with cake, it's like, it's this, and then it's a ganache, and then it's a filling. And it's like, there's so many different things going on. But if you just have, like, a good, solid base of cake and a nice, simple icing, it's just as good. Sometimes even better. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so do you offer different, I guess I should say like icing types? Because I know like we wrote down here buttercream flavors, but.
I do make buttercream. So mine is more of a continental buttercream, which means that it's not all butter. So there's so many different kinds of buttercream out there. There's like Swiss meringue, there's American buttercream, there's continental buttercream. There's so many different kinds, and everyone has a personal preference. I make a more of a continental one, which isn't all butter, but it's less sweet. Like it's not like eating a chunk of butter off a piece of cake. So typically all I'm making is vanilla buttercream. Usually for wedding cakes, people will request a different kind of icing or a different kind of buttercream, but typically for birthday cakes and stuff, it's a flavored cake and a vanilla buttercream. Yeah.
And so I know you spoke a bit about the fuzzy peach cupcake at markets, but do you have another treat that's maybe like your most popular, kind of like a go-to for people?
Chocolate caramel is always a really good one. And I do make my own caramel sauce, so it's all made from scratch. Yeah.
Yummy.
Coconut, I feel like is really understated though. Like that one is not ordered enough, but anytime someone orders coconut cake, like those cake scraps, they never make it far. Like I will eat all the cake scraps from coconut cake. Try it. It is so good.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I used to be a really picky eater, so anything that wasn't like very bare bone, I was like, that's too adventurous, no thank you. And then I tried like coconut cake and even coconut cookies, and I was like, these slap. Like
I've been missing out.
No, for sure.
It's true. You think that it's kind of like an old person flavor. It's not. It is so good. Yeah,
so good.
It's awesome.
And so do you have a kind of on the coconut flavor topic, do you have a favorite flavor combination?
I am always partial to chocolate. Anything chocolate caramel, chocolate mint, chocolate orange. Those are usually my favorites. I'm a chocolate kind of girl.
All good choices.
Yeah.
And so how does someone go about ordering from you?
I ask for people to go through my website. That's the easiest way. There's a contact me page. I don't accept Instagram DMs, but I will accept direct messages on my Facebook page. So those are the two easiest ways. I don't answer the phone at all because, as you can see, with all my kids, I just can't talk on the phone anymore. So email through my website or through my Facebook page. Those are the easiest ways to get a hold of me. Yeah.
And how long in advance do you recommend someone place their order?
I typically ask for a 2-week lead time. I can sometimes work with less. The beauty of working from home is that if I have a slow week, I can accept a last minute order, but I can also not have that because then I don't have help. So it really depends. 2 weeks is the best amount of time, but whenever you know for sure. I've got people already inquiring into March and April, so it really depends on how organized you are. Yeah.
And has there been maybe a favorite or most memorable order that someone has placed with you?
I find my favorites aren't typically like the specific order, but it's more the feeling of when it all comes together, like from start to finish. I'm not typically a sketcher. Like I don't always sketch the cakes before I'm about to make them, but sometimes it just flows, like from the cake baked perfectly. The icing is so smooth. The filling is delicious. All the decorations come together like exactly how I pictured in my mind. And those are my favorites. So it's not necessarily like one specific cake, but it's more like a feeling. Like it just, my vision came to life and it feels so good.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so what would you say sets you apart from other bakers and cake decorators?
I pride myself on having a decent cake to icing ratio. So I know sometimes when you go into the grocery store and you look at the cupcakes in there and it's like this much cupcake, but it's this much icing and it's so sweet and it's like eating butter or like eating sugar. I really pride myself on having a good ratio of cake to icing. So it's not like you have too much icing and only a tiny bit of cake. I don't do like 4 or 5 layers in each cake. I only do 2 and then a little layer in the middle. So you're still getting a decent amount of the cake to icing ratio. And I do find a lot of people have said that my icing is not horribly sweet. So that's how I'm a little bit different as well. Yeah.
Everyone in my family would absolutely adore you
Yeah.
because I'm the only one who likes overly sweet things.
Okay,
So
yeah.
anytime we go anywhere, it's always like, eat this icing, eat this
It's too
icing,
sweet,
eat this
yeah.
icing. Yeah.
And it's hard because it's a cake or it's cookies, so you know it's gonna be sweet, but sometimes you try some and it's like your teeth hurt. It's so sweet. And I find that my stuff is not as sweet as that. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Icing to cake ratio, I'm assuming, was a process in coming to like the correct ratio,
Yeah.
as well as probably a lot of the other work that you've done and a lot of learning curves. What has been the most challenging aspect of the work that you do?
It is a lot of trial and error. I do find that I have found that sweet spot, no pun intended, of like I know what I'm doing now, so there's not a lot of trial and error anymore. Right now I'm finding the hardest part is social media, like staying relevant, being innovative, finding creative ways to post. It's exhausting. Like it can take a lot out of you. It's really hard to try and come up with new things. For a while I was doing reels and they were funny and people were reacting, but it doesn't always translate to orders, to new clients, to new customers. So it's tricky to try and stay relevant, stay on top of things, and then on like run the business as well. Like when you're a sole business owner, there's so many different hats that you wear, and trying to find like spread out your focus between all the things can be really tricky, but social media is a really hard one I'm finding right now to try and keep on top of that one for sure.
Especially too in a day and age where so much is instant and social media, and I think people's attention spans have like drastically
so
declined.
short.
Like
They have.
yeah, like you have to be so fast and so I don't even know, just like grab the attention just like that. But
Yeah.
exactly what you're speaking to, the amount of work that goes into a lot of aspects of your job, I could imagine that it would be exhausting.
It is, and I think there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff too that people don't realize. Like it's not just decorating the cake, there's packaging, there's photos, there's like props, there is staging. Like it's not just like down here the lighting is terrible, so I have to take all my cakes and all my cookies upstairs to do like posing and props, and so I get the natural light from upstairs. So that's work too. Like packaging is expensive, boxes, paper shreds, bags, like it all adds up, and it's so much work to kind of tie it all together. And I think there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people don't realize too when it comes to baking for sure.
Oh, absolutely. You know, people see the photo on social media and they're like, that's so cute. Meanwhile, you had to bake the entire, like you had to buy the ingredients, bake the entire cake, decorate the entire cake, make sure you had the right lighting, and do
From
all
start
of
to
that.
finish, it's such a process for sure. Yeah. Which is why I try and keep baking days like all on one day, like get it all done instead of, you know, doing it multiple days, because then it's even more work to get everything back out again, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. What would you say is maybe the biggest misconception about baking and decorating, or maybe the biggest thing that people don't understand about what you do?
I think that it is easy. Like that it's a lot of people, I really hate the term like side hustle. Like people think that it's just like an add-on job. And I know that some people do it as a side thing, but for me it's a full-time job. And the mental load from start to finish, like you were just saying, the preparation, answering emails, updating the website, going back and forth with the client, deciding on a design, getting the groceries, bringing them all into the house, unloading them into the bins, the baking time, the dishes. Like it's so much work. And I think sometimes people look at prices and they're like $45 for a dozen cookies. Well, when you math it out, right, it's like $3.75 to $4 a cookie, but it's not accounting for washing all the dishes after, all the piping bags, all of the tools that you have to buy, right? So I think there's this idea that, oh, well, I like baking, so maybe I'll try selling stuff. And for some people, I think it is that straightforward, but it's not for a lot. Like, there's thousands of dollars worth of equipment. The mixers are expensive, the oven's expensive. It can definitely be a lot more time consuming than people think it is, for sure.
And like no hate to the side hustle, because that's great for some people, but also when you've gone to school for it and you have a lot of the training where I can't do what you do. Yeah. I know that for a fact. I know what you do isn't easy.
Yeah.
And so I think just being able to have that respect for the work that's done and the art that's created, and being able to understand that it's a lot more than just a picture of a cupcake on social media.
Yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes like those big bakeries, like when you watch Cake Boss and they'd make those cakes and it was like a hot air balloon with like cables and ropes, and they're like, why can't you make something like that? And I'm like, I'm one person. Like, it's not as easy as just watching a video and being able to execute that, right? Like, there's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of preparation work. There's just a lot more, I think, behind the scenes stuff than sometimes people realize.
On the flip side, though, because we've talked a bit about the challenges and things people don't understand, what would you say is the most rewarding part of the work that you do?
I think getting those after photos when people have like their dessert table set up and your cake is in the middle of the table and your cookies are displayed on a nice platter, that, and knowing that people trust you to be a part of their events. Like, these are huge events in people's lives. Like, first birthdays are enormous. Weddings are huge. Like, and they're coming to you and trusting you to spend their money and be a part of their day. Like, it's so amazing that people will come to me and say, you have this talent that I don't. Make this for me for my wedding day. Like, that's amazing. Also, when little kids come to the door and see their birthday cake, oh my gosh, I just love it. Their little faces light up and it's like, I saw a picture online and she made the cake into that for me. Like, it's just so amazing. Like, little kids and their cakes. It's just so sweet.
Well, yeah, you're making their day. Like, this is, for kids, their birthday party is like what they talk about.
They've thought about it for so long. This is what they picked out, and then they see it come to life and they're like, my birthday cake. Like, it just warms my heart. I love that so much.
Do you have any advice for someone who wants to get into this as a career?
I would say if you're going to start, invest in a few of those things where you indulge a bit more, like where you spend a little bit more on the equipment that's going to serve you rather than sometimes the cheap stuff from cheaper stores. Like, invest in a quality turntable, invest in, like a good, good baking sheets, like good spatulas, invest and really be there and really take the time to learn the art, like learn the trade. It can be tricky. It can be really frustrating at times, but that's the same as any other job, right? Like, there's highs and lows, and if you love it, stick to it and take orders that you're going to love, because if you take orders that you're going to hate, like, you're not going to enjoy the job, right? Like, take those things that bring you joy. Don't take the things just because you're going to make money. Take the things that make you happy, and then you'll just keep loving it.
What has been for you maybe the biggest learning experience since first starting your business?
Well, I went through markets for 10 years, and so that's very different than what I do now. So I used to kind of that was a huge guessing game. So that was hard too. Like, you'd be guessing on how much stuff you're going to sell based on what the weather is going to be like. And then sometimes you bring a lot of stuff home. Sometimes you sell out in the first couple hours. So that was a bit of a learning curve. And then transitioning to a bakery where it's preliminary, like home pickups, it's been different too, but it's been a bit better because I do my works, like I do my week's orders, and that's it. Then I'm done. Like, I'm not guessing. I'm not taking a bunch of stuff home. So that transition was a little bit tricky for me, but I don't know. What's been the most difficult part? I feel like just kind of going with the flow is tricky sometimes. Like, COVID was really hard. I know for a lot of small businesses, thought they were going to shut down. For me, that wasn't really a huge concern because my bakery is in my house. So it wasn't like I have a massive overhead or I had to go out and sell things to keep my bakery running. Like, I kind of just closed down for a bit. So that was a bit stressful too. But, everyone kind of climbed back out of that hole, and just kind of riding those waves of ups and downs. And there's always really slow months for bakeries. January is always the slowest. Everyone's on a diet and everyone is broke from Christmas. So January is usually a tricky one, but that's when we all start doing all our Valentine's samples. So it's like a chance to refresh, be creative again, think of new Valentine's things. So, yeah.
So starting as in a market over 10 years ago to now like a home bakery, where do you see yourself and your company in like 5 years?
I would love to focus more on sugar cookies and cakes. I would love to have bigger holiday pre-sales, so which is different than custom cookies. So custom cookies can be as little as 1 dozen, as many as a couple dozen. But with holiday pre-sales, like people can order 1 or 2 cookies, but I'd love for those to be massive pre-sales for me, like have those really busy weekends. But honestly, I'm happy where I am right now. My kids are little. So the next 5 years, my youngest will be in kindergarten. I'll probably still be cruising along at the same speed, but right now that's what works best for me. And after that, who knows? I don't have any interest in owning a storefront. That's just a whole other can of worms that I've never really wanted to open. I know that comes with a lot of growing pains, but I don't know. Like I'd love to just watch my business grow a little bit by little bit. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And last question. It doesn't have to do with baking or decorating or business specific, but what would you say is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
The best one I can think of is that my mom used to say, if you want to do it right the first time, and then you don't have to do it again. And I think that to myself all the time. When I'm so tired down here and I don't want to wash the dishes at night, when I want to cut corners, like I think of her saying like that, just do it right the first time, and then you don't have to do it again. And I feel like it's applicable to so many different areas in my life, but I do think of that quite often when I'm down here and like, I don't want to put all the bags of flour in the bin. Just do it, and then you don't have to do it later. I don't want to put all the butter in the fridge. Just do it, and then you don't have to do it later. So it makes me laugh, but I feel like that is applicable to a lot of areas in my life.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And future you probably thanks you all the time.
She definitely does, yes. For sure.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you for sitting down with us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
All right. We are now going to decorate a cake.
Okay, so I have made this one so you kind of have a reference point to look at. Does not need to look like that.
It will not look like that. Nobody gets your hopes up.
The best part of cake decorating is you can just be creative. So I've already crumb coated the cake for you, and all that means is that it was naked and I put a first coat on so that you didn't get all the crumbs stuck in it, which sometimes can be the hardest part. So first thing you're going to do is take your palette knife and you're just going to scoop little bits, and I usually hold it with it down to the bottom and my elbow up high. And you're just going to smooth it on the side. And this is going to help keep it on the turntable. And you can turn that all the way around as you go. Okay. And this part takes a little bit of practice. And it looks really awkward. Yeah, elbow up to the sky. Yeah, just like that. And then sometimes I kind of keep my thumb on the cake board. Big, heavy cakes will stick on here. Yeah, but sometimes with the little ones, they want to slide off. And I know it seems weird, but the more icing you get on there, the easier it's going to be. So scoop some more on there. And then we'll use something to smooth it all out after.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yes.
So now it's just about like putting...
You're just trying to cover it. And then the beauty of this is if you even have a couple little spots that aren't totally covered, all the piping is going to cover it. So.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then you'll even have little bits left over from scraping that smooth along the side.
And so what kind of cake is this that we're decorating?
You have an Oreo cake there.
Ooh,
yes, so
fancy.
Vanilla cake with smashed up Oreos mixed in, which is always a good one.
Fun.
Yeah, and then cover the top on there as well. I will actually go like this for you, and then you can just
Thank you.
spread that all around. Yeah.
So are these available to order? Like, is it all
Yes, I am in the process of updating my website, adding all my Valentine's orders on there now, and those will be available to order until really close to Valentine's Day. So I have the mini cakes, I'm going to have some gourmet cupcakes, I'm going to have some sugar cookie sets, lots of fun things. And some things for if you want to order for your girlfriends, something if you want to give to your husband, something if you want to give to your kids. An option for everyone. Yeah.
These are so cute, everyone. They're little hearts. I don't know if you can see from the angle we're at, but they're little hearts.
so cute.
So cute.
There you go. Okay, so that's a great start. So now we're going to take this fancy bench scraper here, which is a multi-use tool. It is actually sharp. When I was in my first week at Nate, we made bread and so many people went to the nurse because they cut their fingers with this. Like, first thing we baked. It is sharper than it looks. So all you're going to do is hold it one side onto the cake, and then you're just going to use your other hand. Turn the turntable, And then you're going to try and scrape it nice and smooth. And this usually takes many passes. And you can scrape it on the side of the bowl and drag it around again, just like that. So you want to get, every time you scrape, you want to try and get as much icing off as you can. And you can even use this guy and scrape it off like that as well. There you go.
Thank you. Okay.
And all you're trying to do is, yeah, you don't need to press super hard. So we just want to get that top layer. That's okay. You can go back on and put more icing back on. So now you want to get that bit off. So scrape that on the side of the bowl.
Thank you. A little too smooth. I'm making her bald, but it's okay.
It's all good. That's why we're adding extra icing.
Oh, that was not smooth. Sorry.
There you go. Yeah.
This must just be like one of those things where it's like you're watching someone do the thing you know how to do, and you're like,
you're like, oh my God, just let me do it.
You just missed a spot.
Yeah. Oh, that did not work at all. Okay. Oh, that was
there. See that? You did a good one there. Yeah, you did a good pass on that side. Yeah. Yeah. And all we do, honestly, it's super easy. We're just going to add a tiny bit back more. Just cover up the few little bald spots.
Okay, perfect.
And then you just keep on scraping until you're happy with it.
Cute.
Yeah.
So everyone, I'm doing my
Scraper
best.
a couple more times.
Oh, do you scrape the top as well?
You know what I usually do, actually? It probably seems funny, but I do so many things on my own, and then I don't have anyone to stop me. So what do I usually do is I actually just scrape it on the edge of the counter.
Oh.
And then it comes pretty clean, and then I scrape it back into the bowl because all the counters are clean. So I find, yeah, it gets most of it off. So you can do one more scrape there, and then I'll show you how to get the top nice and even.
Perfect.
Everyone has a different way of doing it. And if you watch Instagram videos, like everyone has a different way of crumb coating. See, that was a good one. Yeah, you just need some practice. Yeah. Everyone has a different way of doing it. So you just have to find what's most comfortable for you. So I actually am finished with this now. So I don't use this for the top. Then you're going to go back to using this knife, and you're going to scrape from the outside towards the middle and stop in about the middle. And this is going to give you a nice clean edge on the outside without scraping it over the top. Yeah, and this one is easy to scrape on the edge of the bowl, so you can try that.
Oh, I got a lot of icing on the
top. You put a ton on, and then you end up scraping the vast majority of it off. And that's okay to get a bald spot. You can always put a little bit more back on, and then we're going to add all this on the top as well. So these heart cakes are actually, if you have a sweet tooth, this is a great option because they do end up with a lot more icing on them than a typical round cake without all this piping on it would. Nice.
Thanks.
All right. So now what we're going to do, we can get rid of this bowl and all of this stuff here. So now you get to use all these fun piping tips. So you can pick what color if you want to do pink or red around the bottom first.
I'll do pink.
Pink. Okay, so we're going to use this one. And then we're going to use this fun tip. This is actually a leaf tip. And these are all, you can get these at any cake decorating store, and you can order them off Amazon. I wipe my fingers on my apron. That's why I wear an apron.
That's the whole point.
So when you're using a piping bag, you don't want to squeeze all the icing at the same time. So you usually start about halfway down, and then you twist and you squeeze out from the bottom. So what we're going to do is create this bottom ruffle here. So you're going to start on the cake board, and you're going to squeeze. Well, it's probably kind of hard for you to see. And a little ruffle is going to start coming out. And then from this side, you're going to go this way. Perfect. So I'll give that to you to try and give it another turn so it's nice and tight.
Perfect. Right.
And I feel like this is always harder than it looks.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I was like, that came out so smooth and so simply.
Yeah.
And now here I am.
There you go.
So after having like the crumb coat on a cake like this, how long does it take you to do all the piping and like decorating?
So once I put the crumb coat on, I sit it in the freezer for upwards of half an hour. Yeah. And then we're going to do the exact same thing around the top bit.
Oh, no.
Half an hour to 40 minutes. And then because it's butter, it gets nice and hard and it's nice and chilled. And the piping, It's a hard question for me to answer because I've done it so many times. So
Yeah.
it doesn't take me a super long time. I would say, I don't know, half an hour, 20 minutes for me to do that. And then the nice thing about the piping bags with these little couplers on top, it's super easy to change out the tips, so you don't need a new piping bag every single time.
Okay.
So it saves a ton of time that way too.
Bridget, that's so good.
Bridget, that is
You're
really
doing
good.
great. And you know what? The beauty of these is if it doesn't look great, you're just going to keep covering it up with more layers.
Perfect. No
These
one will
old
know.
school, these style of piping cakes, they're kind of neat for beginners because you can cover up. There. Beauty. Okay.
She's a little rough on the end, but aren't we all?
So now we're going to take this one. So we're going to take red, and we're going to do red on top of the pink. So same thing. You're going to squeeze about halfway down, just enough so that you can get it in your hand. That's not on there straight. Hang on. I have had many piping bags burst in my hand and explode all over the cake. So you got to make sure that the tips are on properly. Sometimes just give a little squeeze. So this one is a little bit trickier. So you're going to do a shell border. So you're going to squeeze at the end and then taper off. So you're going to start this way. So do a big squeeze and then taper off. A big squeeze and then taper off. I don't know how well you can see that.
Yes, I can.
So I'll do this side and then you can do the other side.
Or you can do opposite sides.
There.
Okay.
So you can give it a try from that way.
Okay.
And I usually go from the top of the heart to the bottom and then it comes together at a nice point.
From the
Yeah, so like
top
this
here.
is the top here and then around to the bottom part
So-
that way.
big and tape.
Yes, just like that. Yeah.
I feel like mine look a little.
It takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you don't have to squeeze super hard. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm squeezing too hard.
You make it look so easy.
Me? Thank you. No, I'm just kidding.
I always find like when I'm doing Play-Doh with my kids, my husband's always like, "What are you making? Like, how did you make that?" And I'm like, "Well, that's part of my job. Like playing with fondant is like playing with Play-Doh. So it's like the same thing, right?"
You're just like the world's best mom at playing with Play-Doh.
At Play-Doh, yes.
All the kids are like, my mom makes something way cooler than your mom does. I don't think it's happening.
You're doing a great job.
I think the taper's really helping.
Yeah.
Saying that.
Genuinely, I'm very impressed with you.
Oh, thank you.
No, it looks great.
There, and then you just want to kind of meet them together at the end there. Yeah,
Yes.
and honestly, this fun little scribe, we can just kind of like poke them together.
Okay,
like that.
perfect. Yeah, that was supposed to happen.
And then you can do the same thing around the top. And then I'll show you one more tip.
Okay.
And then we can do the sides. There you go. You got it.
Oh.
Oh, got too ahead of myself. Got too ahead of myself again. Holy Moses. So, like, I am not doing an amazing job. I'm doing my best, which counts, but I could not imagine, like, doing this on, like, a bigger scale.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine like
Holy
your
Moses.
back
Yeah.
just hurt.
Yeah, so this counter actually is my favorite counter to work at because it's typically a little bit taller, so it's a little bit more ergonomic, I think is the word.
Yeah.
This one is not great. Like, this one is a bit lower. So I kind of go back and forth between my chair and standing. I never sit to decorate a cake. I cannot sit in a chair and decorate a cake for the life of me. I have to stand. But cookies, I am like hunched over like a little shrimp. And by the end of the night, it's like I have to force my back up straight.
Oh.
Yeah. Cookies are a tough one because you have to be really close to it and have like a really steady hand.
Yeah.
So that one can be tricky for sure.
I've seen like videos on TikTok of people like doing it. I'm like, oh my god, they look so cute. Like your cookies look amazing. but,
Thank
like, I
you.
don't even know how someone can do that.
There you go.
Good job, Bridget.
Beauty. See, it's a heart
Stop.
shape.
But actually, really
If you
good.
close your eyes and imagine a really nice cake, it's like beautiful.
All right, so now we're going to switch this guy again, and we'll go back to pink. And these tips are basically the same, and it's just a smaller, these are more of a star shape than the shell shape. And you're going to do the exact same thing. So this is the second border on the bottom.
Gotcha.
And I might actually need to mix a little bit more icing for you here, but that's okay. You're just going to do the same thing. You squeeze hard on the top and then taper off to the middle. That's just little air bubbles coming out of the bag. That's normal.
Do you have a favorite icing tip?
I would say the one I use the most is actually probably a round one, and that would be more for cookies. But these star-shaped ones I do love for doing these ruffle borders. And then there is a couple different other ones that you use to make roses and stuff. And I don't find that a lot of people know how to do that anymore. Like when I first started doing cake decorating, it was like character faces, and it was like you would use these star tips to fill in the colors. And now, do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. You can rent those pans still, and you can still do those, but now people are, like making the characters out of fondant and stuff, but that didn't really exist when I started, or I didn't really know about it. So like when my mom used to make these cakes for me when I was little, you just had to be creative, and it was all about the star piping tip and filling in all the different colors. And she was so cute. She used to take our coloring books and cut out the face of the whatever character, and then she would put the coloring book face, because it was so hard to make, so small. Yeah.
Wow. That's so cute.
Do you like that, like the retro kind of ones are coming
I
back?
love that these are coming back. And yeah, like I was saying about the roses, like I find that not a lot of people know how to make a buttercream rose anymore. Just because fondant has kind of taken over, and like sugar flowers, and the art of buttercream piping, it's really different than using all the other different mediums. So I kind of enjoy that, because this is where I first started. And then I did get into fondant cakes for a while, and like covering them and making little things out of them. But that can be time consuming too. Fondant is expensive, and I used to make my own out of marshmallows, and I still do sometimes. Yeah. But like it takes a long time, and it adds more weight to the cake, and it adds more price to the cake as well. So yeah, I was finding that it wasn't the direction I wanted to go in. So I've kind of taken those out of my repertoire, and I will make little things out of fondant, but I don't cover cakes in fondant anymore. Not the whole cake. Yeah.
The art of buttercream is so hard, though. My mom and I took a buttercream class because my sister's getting married, and so for her bridal shower, she wants to do like flower cupcakes.
Oh, okay.
So we took like a buttercream class to make flowers with like different tips. Holy Moses!
Yeah, it's tricky.
Hard.
Oh, but they
Yeah.
looked so good.
Thank you.
I saw photos.
It's hard, and I don't. Maybe some people don't know, but since it's buttercream, if it gets hot,
Yeah,
it falls
it
apart.
melts.
It
Yeah.
melts.
Oh,
And so it's
I
like,
didn't think of that.
You have to
even when
work
you're
quickly.
icing, even when we were icing the cupcake, I'm like, why are these, like, I think we were making
Melty,
tulips.
yeah.
I was like, why are they toppling over?
Yeah.
And the lady's like, you're taking way too long. I'm
Oh,
like,
because your hand gets really hot around the bag. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It's tricky. So now, honestly, you can kind of just go in whatever direction you want with this. That's the beauty of these cool little ruffle cakes. You can add as little as you want, or you can add as much as you want. So on this one, like, I did some hearts on the side, some other little ruffles. I'm just going to sneak in this drawer in front of you, and I'm going to push the icing down so that it's not all up at the top.
Oh, awesome. Thanks. I like your little I love you.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and I can definitely, I'll get you a round tip, and you can for sure try your hand at writing I love you.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cute.
I'll get you a little bigger one.
Oh, it is. BBB. Oh, that's not my initials. BB. BMB. That's my. Anyway, moving on. Sorry.
Okay.
You're like, okay.
I'll switch this one.
2 words, no.
Yeah. We'll just rebrand.
To match the cake.
Yeah, exactly.
So writing, I feel like there's not many tips I can give you other than this takes
Other
a
than be
lot
good.
of
We
practice.
used to work at Dairy Queen, and you would write on cake.
Oh, okay, that's a challenge. Then I have to do what you're writing.
Oh,
looks
it's bad.
like.
It's really bad.
Sorry, I was so bad at
She
writing
threw
on
me
cake.
under the bus there. I'm not good at it.
So
there's
I
that.
almost always exclusively prefer cursive, and I know kids don't even learn how to write in cursive anymore.
Which
is
is
so much.
crazy.
It is so much easier to write in cursive on a cake than it is to print. Yeah, and a lot of it is about pressure of squeezing the bag in your hand and squeezing it out at the same time. It takes a lot of work. That is a fantastic start.
Thank you so much.
You're off to a great start.
Okay, guys, talk.
If I just like, it's so much pressure too, because like sometimes it depends. Like usually your base color is lighter than what you're writing in. So if you screw up halfway and you have to scrape it off, like you kind of have to do the entire top again and recover it because you can't really scrape off the darker color. So it's like I always find like when you're writing in a dark color and it's like your heart's like, oh my god, please, like, let it go nicely. And writing congratulations on a cake is the worst. The worst word.
So bad.
You always underestimate how long it is.
bad.
And it's like, congratulations. And you're like, well, shoot. That is so good.
Thank
You did such a good job.
A little heart at the bottom.
Yeah.
So cute, Bridget.
Dairy Queen should be proud of me.
That is
We
awesome.
need to rehire you.
Please
For-
don't. Don't even put that out there. None of that.
No.
Aw,
That's all right. Oh, it's a lopsided heart.
that is awesome.
The heart and I
It's a
both have
carrot.
Oh. And I'll just show you how I did the side ruffles and those
perfect.
little hearts.
Yeah,
and
you
then
can
you
do all the
choose.
side ruffles. Please go ahead.
So these ones, this is the same tip that we did the first ruffle with. So all you do is just squeeze a little bit so it kind of bubbles out.
Oh.
And that makes...
So
cute. Those are so cute.
And these ones on the sides, I know a lot of people will mark it. So you can use a little cookie cutter to like mark circles on the side.
Oh, to make sure they're the same distance?
I'm more of an eyeballer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Those all look exactly even, so
I know,
dang,
I'm
that's
looking at
awesome.
This other cake, I'm like, wow, that looks so good for you just eyeballing it.
No, literally.
Could
Yeah,
never.
so I don't know if you want to try the other side. I can definitely mix some more pink there.
Good question.
I feel like this is looking pretty good.
I think it's
So
like
as
very
well.
cutesy,
Yeah.
actually.
It is very
Kind of proud.
Do you get a lot of
How do you
orders,
make it? Sorry, go
No,
ahead with
that's
your
okay.
question.
orders for like darker cakes? Like I know that like black icing.
Yeah, black and red and like navy blue. Yeah, see, there you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's how
it's
you
all
do
about the
that.
pressure in your hand. Those are the worst colors, and they're really hard to mix.
Awful.
Yeah, they're hard to mix so that you're not like eating the food coloring, right?
It's bitter, right?
It is bitter, and like red is a tricky one. So gel colors, I find, yeah, like that's awesome. Gel colors are the best for that. You don't get as much of the taste.
Yeah.
But there is, like, I've been seeing a new method where people will kind of temper the color in. So you mix your buttercream and then you take a bowl full out and you melt it in the microwave and it intensifies the color. Sometimes leaving it to sit in a bowl overnight helps too. Like, it helps the color develop a little bit. But I do try and steer clear of those or suggest alternatives, especially for little kids because their teeth and their hands are, like, stained. Like,
And then they
Mickey
touch
Mouse,
everything.
yeah, he's red and black. So it's like, okay, let's pick something else. Like, let's pick sprinkles instead of having the icing be red. So I try and offer, like, an alternative. Or, like, a fondant disc that's red instead of the buttercream being red is better than having, yeah.
I've seen with like black icing, people use like Dutch cocoa powder
Yes,
and stuff
black.
like that.
They make
Yeah.
black processed cocoa powder. And I do find even with that, you still have to add a little bit of
Oh,
the
for
food
sure.
coloring as well. Yeah, black's tricky.
I would assume, especially with black too, even no matter how black you can get it, it's not going to be as dark as you want it to be because it's going to be gray. It's icing.
It is, and it's tricky when people send you photos and it, you know, like, I can tell right off the bat, like, well, it's not going to look 100% like that. Like, I don't know how they got it that dark. Like, that's not my work. So, you know, you kind of got to be upfront and honest sometimes. Like, I don't know how to do that. That's not my work, so I didn't make that cake. So then these ones, all you're doing is just a little circle. So I start from the inside and go around, and then on the outside. So start on the inside, around to the outside.
Gosh,
And then I just do it
cute.
on the top of each where the ruffles meet up.
So cute.
Yeah.
My sister decided, I think for like her 27th birthday, she's like, I want like a really cute like cake like that, but I want it all black and like sparkly. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh. And she literally like touched her finger to it and she was holding it to take a picture of it. Licked it off. Her mouth was completely blue. Her
Stained.
nail was stained. Everything. I'm like, how are you even
Yeah.
gonna eat that? You're not gonna be able to go anywhere for like a month.
Oh, no. Yeah, usually by the end of the week, I do have like all kinds of staining. Like my hands are stained different colors, and mixing the fondant too. Like my hands are always stained. Yeah, yes, black is definitely the trickiest to get nice and dark.
Bridget, those look so good.
Thank you. My loopy loops were not even, but you know what?
It's fine. They look
There you go. And then mine is
Right.
a little bit taller, so you don't quite have enough room to do the little hearts. But
I
that is
think they're grateful for that.
those are the same as doing the shell border. So all you're doing is more pressure on the top and then even off on the bottom. That's all
With
it is.
this one?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try to
That
go
all
on
it
top
is to
of
make
this.
those little hearts. Yeah.
'Cause I'm feeling adventurous.
Yeah, just like that.
It's because I had the stencil from where I did it.
Beauty.
before.
And I do have, if you wanted to add, I do have some Valentine sprinkles if you wanted to sprinkle some of those on there too, yeah. You can just stick your hands in there, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, guess we're using all of these.
And those are constantly all over the floor in there. Those little ball ones are, yeah. Yay! You did a great job. It's beautiful. And I'll get you a box and you can take that home. Of course, yeah. So there you go. There's some tips and tricks, and yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Hey everyone, welcome back.
Not in the video. Hello, everyone.
Cheese, here's the cake. I'm so afraid of it sliding off. We're gonna do a little taste test of the cake. Everyone cut your own slice of cake.
And also make a finish out of our thoughts and wrap up.
Oh yeah, that too. But I thought that was a given.
This is really.
Why are you cutting it like that?
I didn't realize. I'm like, oh, I just want a tiny little piece.
Yeah, what are you
Why would?
Why are we doing it like this?
I was going to.
Oh, I feel like then I.
No, do your own thing. Do your own thing.
I ruined the cake.
Full size,
Who
full
gave
size.
this to
Anyway,
me?
as you cut, we'll do our recap. That was so much fun. Lindsay was so nice, so knowledgeable and helpful and kind, because I know I wasn't doing as great of a job as a lot of people probably would. But she was very nice to me, so I appreciate it.
You did better than I thought you would, though.
Thank you. I'm
Me
gonna
too.
take that as
We
a
didn't hear
compliment.
over the ooze, but I was
Thank you.
pleasantly surprised with how Bridget was able to do all of this. I was very happy for
I
her.
really messed up your cake. I'm so sorry.
I'm just gonna follow it at this point.
disappointed, not surprised.
I'm glad you're not surprised.
There you go. Got another cut.
Perfect. All right.
But to even it out, just have that piece.
Just take it like that.
Yeah, I
There
will.
you go.
It's fine. It's fine. Full send. Rochelle, were you gonna give any wrap-up thoughts?
Oh, I had a lot of fun. I love baking. I love watching people bake. I love watching people decorate. I have a. I don't know what I was gonna say there. Lost for words.
And her setup is amazing and clean and beautiful and like good for her. I'm
And
so happy
so
for
fun.
her.
We didn't even you wouldn't even know. And then it's like boom, bakery,
Yeah.
boom, amazing baker and cake
Okay.
decorator. So,
Cheers.
oh,
Oh.
cheers.
Yeah.
Y'all are fake, making me the only one biting into that right on camera.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh, this is so good.
It is.
It's not sweet at all.
No.
Like it's sweet as a cake should be, but not.
Not like
Overly sweet where
yeah.
it's like my teeth are hurting. Like she was saying.
It's I would say
really-
like the perfect balance.
That's
Like I could see my
moist.
parents eating this cake. This is very yummy. Big fan. And I'm like not a huge Oreo gal,
I'm not usually a cake person. I
but
like
this
it.
is really good.
I'm really into it. Wow.
Get your sweet stuff cakes.